Hey, good day, beloved. I'm going to be talking about why I feel that men are placed into a position of female submission. You know, we're in a spiritual warfare, and it manifests in a lot of different ways. It manifests physically, although it's spiritual warfare. There are thought forms and almost like a whole person. It's a spiritual energy that we ingest, you know, like it trying to find proper words for this stuff. Rubs off on us, we ingest it, we become whatever it is that we're around, the predominant ideas, what we're fed, right? What we're force fed. Case in point, let me stick with the science here. Social sciences, the study of the social features of humans and the ways in which they interact and change. So I said that men have been placed in a position of female submission using the social sciences and what I've been observing. That's my ideal type. That's what I'm saying, right? So I'm using that as a model to explain what I'm seeing. So sociology is the scientific study of social behavior and human groups. And that's the kind of stuff that's been being used against us as a people. So what I see happening to the men is very systematic. So the fundamentalist perspective is a sociological approach that emphasizes the way in which the parts of a society are structured to maintain its stability. Version, that's this German word for understanding or insight in the intellectual work of Germans to analyze. You cannot measure our social behavior by the same type of measurement that we use to measure weight or temperature, but they do use things like ideal types and what we have in the like the catalog for mental illness. So we use a broad spectrum of analysis to explain what it is that we see from one another. The thing is that we've been using the broad span of analysis from people that didn't have our best interest in mind. And so when I look at sexuality and I look at our interactions, a big part of it has to do with economy. Interactionalist perspective, a sociological approach that generalizes about everyday forms of social interaction in order to explain society as a whole. What I'm doing right now is bringing in some of the things that I've been thinking about while I'm observing us as a people, our male and female interactions. And I keep saying that the men, the melanated men, have been pushed into a position of female submission. And I'm looking at this karmic aspect to it also. I was on the I was on Facebook one of the few times that I answered the little telephone thingy they have in the Facebook there. And I was talking to this guy. And he was telling me that he had a 13-year-old girl, 12, 13-year-old girl in the room, and she was showing him her parts. And that he felt bad about it. But after she showed him the parts and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And he found himself getting a little bit flustered. And so I find myself listening to this conversation as a woman. I'm trying to get my economy on. I said, if you guys want a prayer shawl or a hat or something, you have any questions, right, that you want me to answer that have to do with the kind of stuff that you see me studying and talking about, yeah, give me a buzz. Now, I get people talking to me about kind of things that are bothering them in their lives, and I give advice a lot. I don't want to say all the time, because sometimes I won't answer my phone, but a lot. But this guy was off the chain. It was a whole nother level, and he was dealing with some demonic spirits that had to do with an unclean lust demon. And they don't come by themselves. They come with a whole gang, because, like, you need to confuse somebody's mind to get them to do certain things, you know what I'm saying? To get them to forget any kind of morality that they possibly have. To get them to forget that they have a mother, a sister, a daughter. So I'm running down the line. And each encounter, he's had a bad one. His mother wasn't quite right. I guess she was on drugs, and she aroused him, walking around with no shirt on, bust out, you know. He's going through puberty, no man in the home. The kind of stuff that I hear other men talking about in regards to women and the way we carry ourselves and what's happening to the men. See, we're on the front line, and I'm seeing what's happening to men being turned into women energetically. See, that's why I say the men have been forced into a position of female submission, and the backdrop of it is economy. See if I can stay on track now, because there's so many different parts that connect to this that made it a little complicated, where I almost didn't really want to, I didn't even really want to comment on it. It was so sad. So I'm on the phone with this dude, and he's telling me about his mom. Mind you, I'm an incest survivor, so I can relate. I started talking to him, telling him, you know, I can relate. Good day, Brian. Good day, Ingram. Good day, Jean. So we're talking. So he goes from his mother to the young girl that's about 13, to her mother, who's a crackhead, and basically sent her daughter in there. So, you know, I'm thinking, I already know what's up. She probably want to get high, or setting him up to utilize the daughter so that, you know, he likes it, and you know, she gets more crack or whatever. At the time, I didn't know that this guy was getting high. So he basically begged me to talk to me, because I was texting him. So he asked to talk to me, and instinct told me, just go ahead, talk to this freaking guy. So that's what I find out while I'm talking to him, is that he's in mid-act of choosing whether he's going to put hands on this 13-year-old girl who was sent in by her mother. So I'm trying to talk him down and say, you know what? You got a mother, you got a sister. He tells me about his sister. His sister put his hands on him. His sister molested him. His mother, sexual promiscuity or whatever, you know, like walking around with her breasts out, dancing with him all high up and stuff. So this child was confused. Why did he grow up like that? Because of social constructs that were put into place that a lot of us have already studied. You know, the welfare dynamics, kicking the man out of the house, economy. As a traditional woman, you know, I can really, you know, I enjoy the fact that the men that are brought up to be caretakers of women, you know, to love on us and take care of us, and us in return be able to do the same thing to the men. But something has happened. And we got a lot of corruptions and stuff that I saw with materialism. One man is not worth more than the next man because of materialism. So that man that had the material gain was getting some kind of moral foundation or some kind of accolades that he really didn't deserve, because where was his moral foundations? You know, was he a child molester? Was he a wife beater? Did he take care of his mama? Or did he just have money? You know, so the worth of that man, as long as he had money, he had a certain kind of power and disposition within our culture. And so we looked at people like pimps and other undesirables. Undesirable people who were doing undesirable behavior. Not that it wasn't needed within a poverty construct that we grew up in the ghetto, right? You got to get your hustle on. You're going to sell some drugs. You're going to sell some butt. You're going to sell some ices out your window in the projects. And some Slim Jims. You know, maybe sell some weed. So people are getting their hustle on, doing things that are undesirable because of lack of economy. And so we keep our environments degraded due to lack of economy. The exploitation of the woman, of the womb space, is a direct result of lack of economy. Because I can't see people really corrupting their mamas and daughters and sisters if they had the proper economy. The way that we have been brainwashed into thinking that Daddy Warbucks, you know, with Orphan Annie, you know, the money, the moolah, the bag was always so much more important, you know. Theory. In society, a set of statements that seeks to explain problems in actions or behavior. This is old stuff. This is stuff that I studied. This is either sociology. Yeah, I think this was sociology. Some card notes that I had from over 5 years ago. 6 maybe, I don't know. So I'm checking out economy and how economy is kept from our men. How that's one of the big keys, right? So I'm looking at social inequality, a condition in which members of society have differentiating amounts of wealth, prestiges, or power. See, you can get the power if you can string somebody out, if you're a drug dealer, if you're a pimp. So we could get our stuff on that way. The dark side of those social controls that we're being governed by the Eurocentric population, because our whole culture is governed by what they feel is necessary within our society, by what they want, by what makes them money. And if they don't want it in their society, they'll simply make another little community and put gates around it. You know, it's no biggie because they have the economy. But where do you go, my brother? Where do you go? You go to work and you go home. Your kingdom is the ghetto, right? or picking somebody else's domain, and then you have to follow by their rules, and then they say you whitewashed, right? They say you're Uncle Tom and stuff like that when you try to get up into somebody else's stuff. So where are we in this? Where is our culture and our society and the way that we look at ourselves? We've been corrupted. So control and social sanctions are things that gatekeepers use. This is a doll I bought that a woman makes, and it's called a shopkeeper. And I bought this from a woman when I was selling my crafts. I was trying to sell my crafts before I got hit by gang stalkers. Yeah, that's a whole nother story though. So, you know, I like to give what I want, be the hope I want to see kind of thing. And so I purchased this about $20 from a lady who couldn't show up because she wasn't feeling well. She was ill, stress, or life got to her. And I want to be a shopkeeper. I was trying to be a shopkeeper, so I bought it from her. And this is economy. Why don't we? I mean, I'm slowly learning how to make things, but even one day I thought I'll learn how to make. This is the darkest one she had. I make me some little brown dollies and stuff. But I was wondering, where is our economy, right? Where's our economy? These guys had control over if I got to sell my stuff or not. When it came to the militant part, as far as gang stalking is concerned, they definitely had control of that. So I was checking out Karl Marx. The Marxist view. He had a conflict, right? The Soviets is fundamentally divided at the time, and like it's not still going on to this day. And two separate classes that clash and pursuits of their own interest. Okay? Now this was about class and not about gender. But we find things more about class and gender orientated here, and that's why I was going into this thing here. Right? So he wrote the Communist Manifesto along with some guy named Frederick Ingritz, I think. I pronounced his name right, not sure. So social capital, how important is this? They say the glass ceiling, right? It's funny how the glass ceiling, I was able, watching the, that hitman, the hitman thing that we just went, John Wick, and the glass ceiling, and looking at how the underworld was breaking through, right? You got all that churn stuff, all that residue seeping through with the disclosure and the movies and stuff, with the glass ceiling breaking, you know, breaking the boundaries of what's the norm within our social construct, right? Because the matrix is an illusion, and it all starts with a thought, and we build our societies via ideas, right? What's allowed and what isn't allowed. So what are we allowing? This guy that I was talking to, he was abused. He was abused by women in his life because of lack of men. So the power construct made it so economy ousted out the men that had a voice in his life. And so he became hurt by women that had a lack of men, that had a holistic voice. You know what I'm saying? Because hurt people, and we've been hurt. But a lot of us don't want to admit that we've been hurt, so we keep hurting people. Instead of becoming a wounded healer and going through the whole shebang, right? That glass ceiling to break through that psyche to make it to the other side. We just stay in the dark, right? In the dark world, and let that seep through. So that's like another glass ceiling is the underworld. And a lot of the nasties that be going on. So social capital, the collective benefit of social networks which are built on reciprocal trust, forms of control, right? Social sanctions is economy. I'm gonna pull this together. So Weber said, to fully comprehend behavior, we must learn the subjective meaning people attach to their actions, how they themselves view and explain their behavior. So I'm like, dude, how you explain your behavior and you're gonna go touch that 13-year-old when you yourself was touched? And I'm like relating to him as far as, yeah, your mama was dead wrong, so you've been hurt. And your sister was probably messed with and she was wrong, so you've been hurt by them too. And I'm like, oh man, I'm stuck in between this place where I'm like empathizing with the dark hand. Not empathizing with the dark hand, but empathizing with him and the fact that a dark freaking hand has touched his life. Huh? We don't want to deal with this stuff. We don't want to deal with the addictions and the sexual depravity, the demons that we're dealing with within our community. But this guy reached out to me, and part of it was demonic, like this demon thought it was just gonna ruffle my feathers and try to get me all, oh my gosh, really? But I'm like, dude, it happened to you. You see the pattern. So if you go in there and you touch her, you can't say that it's just because you're overridden by some demon. You're fully aware of what you're doing. And hurt people. You're going to keep this thing going? Or are you going to make a decision to do something different? You know, because there's people out there that like to do the nasties and the dirties. Like, why don't you go after her mama? The crackhead that sent her little baby in there. Go have fun with her. With your little crack pipe and your... I mean, he had a freaking dildo. An electronic dildo. And it was just so disgusting. Okay? And I kept thinking of this 13-year-old girl who was already possessed with demons because she in there volunteering to show her parts via her mom. Who knows, even if she's... I don't even know if the girl was getting high or anything. It's not like I could actually be there to intercede. You know what I'm saying? But it was just the whole thing made me think of how we're polluted with certain things, demonic energies within our culture. And I thought of the mother who was on crack, who's probably out of money, and sent her 13-year-old baby in there to do whatever with this dude who happened to be talking to me now. He sent the girl out of the room. He said, I just want to talk to you. Stop what I'm doing. He wanted to take a woosah moment. So that's what I'm here for, to be in the front line. Not that I wanted to really extend my conversation with this guy. My phone is dying, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So that's why I ended up talking with him face to face. Hearing his voice, looking into his eyes, him looking at me. He said he watches me dance. So he's the demon in him was trying to throw me off balance. But now, you don't have any idea what I'm going through, dude. Anyway. Emily Durkheim said suicide rates are higher in times of peace. Right? Suicide due to, why is that? That suicide rates are higher in times of peace. And I was studying sociology. I was like, that's so wild. And the reason why is suicide is due to low integration into social groups. Okay? We get these things on us. We get these weights on us. They tell us what you can have, what you can't have, who you can be, who you can't be. And we be listening. Suicide is up. The internet puts us in, it's actually marginalizing us a lot more. Her hair, I don't like her hair, marginalized. I don't like her color, marginalized. I don't like her income bracket, marginalized. I don't like the fancy freaking words she used, marginalized. I don't like the fact that she swore, marginalized. She's not a Christian, marginalized. She doesn't have an hijab, marginalized. You don't live in a gated community, marginalized. Okay? We have fake people profiles. You don't know who's real and who's not. You have electronic people. You got Photoshop. You got avatar people, right? They're not real people. Those are the electronic people. So you have mind control, voice to skull technology, brain reading technology, and street performers that are given a dossier of what kind of stuff you're into already online. As a people, we've been through a lot already. Natural science, the study of physical features of nature and the ways in which they interact and change. Reminds you of Darwinism, right? How they take the sciences and corrupt them. Is science good or bad? It can be both. It depends on the initiator. Good day, beloved. Hi, Anisha. I had to get this out of me. I've been holding on to it for days and didn't know how to make it, to change the energy of the experience so that I could make it mutually beneficial, you know what I'm saying? So Harriet Martineau, that's Martineau, feminist view, expanded religion, politics, and child rearing, and immigration, and the young nation. She looked at social classes, distinctions like gender and race, okay? And she expanded it into religion and politics. Check out the feminist movement and feminist view. A sociological approach that views inequality and gender as central to all behavior and organization. Feminist view. This is what confused me, right? A sociological approach that views inequality and gender as central to all behavior, okay, in an organization. So the feminists, like, we're at odds with each other, this male and female energy, and the feminists have been coerced into doing the dirty work or the work of those in control of economy. Marxists said classes that clashed in pursuits of their own interest. So as long as that 1% or the dominant Eurocentric society with the cash, controlling the cash and the points of view, can continue to do that and put enmity between us, they'll continue to control the resources. And as long as they're controlling the resources and we're not utilizing where the feminine energy comes from, the creative energy, that we're stifling the female part of the energy, the female parts of ourselves that need to be healed, that need to be mentored, that part of ourselves that needs to be vulnerable and can't, is afraid to admit it's afraid to even make a space where you can be vulnerable. That's the only way we're going to grow, because of the mass amount of corruption that's been done by something that knows how to corrupt this energy and how to divide in order to conquer. We spend more time competing against one another because it's a social norm than helping one another. It's like we can't do anything without thinking of sex, you know. I don't know how to, like, a lot of us don't even realize how totally demented that is. Do this for me and what do I get out of it? You get a freaking cleaner environment. You get people that are thinking in ways that are healthy. So we don't have the gated communities, but we can gate our communities with the kind of stuff that we say is okay. The kind of stuff that we spend our minds and our time with. So I told this guy, because he felt driven. And I said, yeah, I can get with that, because he was like, something in him was trying to throw me off. You know, I can get with being driven and being run and being mounted, you know, by spirit. But if you don't fight back and you know it's there, it's still a form of responsibility, because there's a comprehension that you have that you've been mounted by something ugly. You've been mounted by the ugly. So what, you're gonna go keep spreading it? What is your accountability when you have been tampered with? If you're an incest survivor, you're gonna go keep diddling little children and saying you're not responsible? No. We know that hurt people, but there's also the wounded healer, and so there's a choice. And so I gave him the choice that was already there. I didn't give him the choice. I just pointed out the choice that's already there, and that is, there's times when as much pain as I've been through in my life, and much confusion, I have a rage, I gotta let it out. I find ways to take my anger, my frustration, and my confusion and funnel it and channel it into areas that are creative, that are mutually beneficial. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm doing right now. There's times that the rage in me is very strong, and I too want to act out. So there's times when I want to take a knife and just stab somebody in the freaking neck with it. But there's consequences to that. Good day, love. I'm talking about, Frederick, about how men have been forced in a position of female submission. And, you know, in a roundabout way, as much as I can, bringing in some of these other pieces. See, sociology is called sociology for a reason, you know. Darwinism, all these, like these things, these are tools to move the energy that we have, the social energy. So it all starts with a thought. So when we condone something, when we agree that this is all that we have, and that this is what it is, and that this is what we want it to be, then we're co-signing, we're signing. It's like the red print, or the cardinal rule, you know, that's not written, but it's a given, you know, or the red print that's not read, but it's written and it's there. And so the intention and the energy that compose these environments that we're sinking in, because nobody is teaching us what to do with this counterproductive energy that we've eaten, that we've ingested. How do you tell somebody not to do the thing that they're thirsty to do, because they don't realize that they're thirsty for something else? I had to point out, we don't care. That was what I was confronted with. He didn't care. It took him a minute to care. I had to find a way to get him to see that there was an option to care. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't care, and he doesn't care, and he doesn't care, then why the freak should I care? Because it is what it is. It's just what it is. And if you don't follow the pattern and the trend, you're just going to get swallowed up and carried away with the current. People are doing stuff for money, for currency. So you get swept away. Either you eat or you don't eat. And if you don't eat, I ain't feeding you kind of thing. We don't care. But I was like, dude, hurt people, and you're wanting to hurt people, continuing to hurt people. Leave that little girl alone and go find a bigger fish. One that wants to cooperate and do that dance with you. Or find somebody that wants to do the nasties. Why you got to keep taking these little babies? And so when is it going to stop? Why was you looking for somebody to stop who did that to you if you can't stop? And so that's why we're getting swallowed up, because nobody's telling us that we can stop. We can't stop. Once you get mounted, you can't stop. It was like, how do you stop? You hit frequency with frequency. Family. It doesn't have to totally consume. I'm not perfect. There's things that I'm struggling with, and I'm sure that you can see that. I don't hide. I don't hide. But we are in trouble with this energy. And you have a choice. The wounded healer doesn't become the healer if there's no chance of people turning around this energy. So they lie when they say there's no recovery. Okay? They lie when they say that you can't change and that there's no redemption. They lied. You have to want it. You have to fight. It takes all your freaking might once we've ingested these things. And so as a community, if we want it to get better, we're going to have to take responsibility for the kind of crap we're ingesting. It's as simple as that. You know? And if you must take part in the uglies, go do it with somebody else that's more seasoned. You know what I'm saying? If you got to eat something that's been eating something. Give the babies a chance. Because once you were a baby, you know, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And somebody came messing with you and they couldn't stop themselves. And so now you're mounted by this by the uglies, and you want to go touching somebody else, talking about you can't help it. F out of here. You can help it. Frequency to frequency. Like bulls, right? Go match that frequency. Find somebody else that's doing the uglies and get your party on. Or find a way to find the most beautiful, loveliest freaking things to overshadow. Just keep that on you. Keep that on you. Keep that on you. Like, you ain't touching no baby in the light with the flashlight on you, right? They're doing this stuff in the dark. So stay in the light until it fucking burns you. Right? Hurt people, and they're vampires. And that's why vampires don't like the light. They don't like the sunlight. Get in that UV. Hurt yourself. There was a time when I was just so messed up, and I didn't know how to stop. Mind you, I'm 50 years old. So I'm talking about when I was like a teenager, like 13, in my teens. And I was trying to get rid of the uglies that were put on me. And I learned hurt people, and I felt like you had to keep it going, right? Tell you that lie. So anyway, stay in the light. I did so much stuff, and I didn't want to hurt anyone else, so it was self-perpetuated pain. And that's where you see the people out there doing things to themselves. You know, hurting themselves with their lifestyle. With the pain that they've endured. You know. And some of those people have children. You know. And then you go on a whole nother journey on finding out how to love yourself, so that you could show that to the people around you. That you already love. That's the empathy. I think that part of the reason why we don't care is because we think that there's no hope. We think that there's no way to fight. See, those people that have been governing have been doing so many nasties in the dark that the spiritual energy, it doesn't die, it only transforms. And they literally found the sciences in the way while we were sleeping to feed us those energies. So we've been ingesting them, we've been eating them, and we take them in different ways. Like, you know, we take them through movies, through pills, through interactions, through the things that we ingest, right? Because we don't just eat via food. You can program water. So the military, it's said the military has a program where they can put whatever the mission is inside the water. Check out Dr. Moto. So they put the mission inside the water in this little vial, and they tell the soldier, drink your mission. Everything that you need is right there. Okay, so times have changed, but they're not giving us the upgrades on how to get rid of the uglies. So this is where the wounded healer comes in. The shaman, the white workers, the Reiki healers, the ministers, okay? And believe me, just like the pedophile who will find that space where you're supposed to be helping, and that's a lot of the situations in which we find within our society right now, within our culture, is the people with those vampiric behaviors utilizing those spaces that are supposed to be for helping, okay? Like clergy, like doctors. So we got to take it back. And in the same way that they said, standing next to you is those people who don't mean you well. We're in your schools, we're in your churches, we're in the government, woo! Okay, 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 okay. We kind of see you now, because look at what's coming out of there. Where are our programs that were supposed to help our children? Feminist movement. So if you weren't governed and the energy wasn't being dictated by those a Luciferian agenda, the backdrop, because it's the economy. Who's going to float these? Even Black Lives Matters. Good day, beloved. Rise. Yeah, so, you know, keep that in mind, is that even when people want to do better and they mean well, sometimes they get hijacked by these suckers, by these people who have this vampiric energy, by these people feeding off of us, off of our communities, off of our people, off of our hurt people. You know, the ghoul, I was thinking of the ghoul to the vampire who won't feed. They'll rather pick a mouse or some kind of animal or something. You know, they won't feed off of the flesh. That's supposed to bring them more power or more abilities and stuff, you know, that the vampire will have, feeds off of his own. This stuff is metaphorical, but it's also very literal. So, this is Regina's Rabbit Hole, Siren Bodhisattva Medicine, Siren Buddha Medicine. You can catch me on YouTube. I'm having a problem with my gear, so I'm actually using a device that I probably should have returned. My laptop is down. My phone is out. I'm using I'm doing what I can. I haven't been getting any donations, so the research and all those things that I gave, I guess, you know, I don't understand why we don't reciprocate the people that are trying to help. Whenever I can, I do, you know. Especially if it fits in alignment with what I'm doing, I'll show that video. I'll press the like button because I know that, and I do this too because my viewers are able to see, because this is Regina's rabbit hole, what I'm viewing and what I take interest in. If I press the like button, you're able to see that I like that I was there, or that I made a comment. So it's a trail, okay? It's a trail. So that's helpful. Please like, subscribe, and share. It's helpful. It helps me know that I'm helping you, and that what I'm doing is not in vain, and I'm not just tooting my own horn. If I don't see you there, and I don't see that you're digging what it is that I'm saying, I might tend to back down and feel like, you know, it's not mutually beneficial. And so I'd rather be in alignment with what I feel like my higher power will want from me, what my creator will want from me. That a lot of you use the term God for. I don't particularly like that term, because I know of the German God, Gut. You know, I'm dealing with some of the energies from that stuff. I'm always dipping into something, but blacks don't know how to help anymore. Well, us melanated folks spend too much time listening to someone else's interpretation on what it is that's going to help us, when those people, that's the point that I'm making, don't have our best interest in mind. Even the system that has been set up to help us has been corrupted. Like, you know, we got to start looking at this thing with wisdom. Is it good, or is money good or bad? It's both. What intentions are you bringing to the table? We don't know how to help each other anymore. Are we really trying to help each other anymore? Because the best help that I can give you is to not be the butthole standing next to you that's willing to rub all my nasty crap all over you just because I don't know how to help myself, or because I don't think that there's redemption. Yo, why are you sitting up in the church if you don't think God works? If you don't think Jesus works, why are you sitting there? Oh, grace and mercy just gonna fall on you, and you can keep going. I've spent more time with people from the institutions that are meant for helping that go out and continue to hurt, because it's condoned, and these places that are supposed to be getting rid of energy is actually breeding it. It's just so weird. We gotta spend time with ourselves, meditating and removing the negative energy. That's how we help. Blacks don't know how to help anymore. Blacks ain't helping themselves anymore. They're helping themselves to the bag, to the ego. You can float some clothes, some looks. Oh, you look good. Oh, you have things, but do you have yourself? If you don't have them things, yo, how you gonna float without them things? I'm floating without those things. I need you. That's what I want to make me feel better. More peace of mind at night, to know we're getting better, to know that we have hope, to know that things are changing, and to know I did what I was supposed to do according to universal law, that I was true according to my design. That's enough work. True to myself according to my design, so that I could look at you and be as true as I can in the face of whatever it is that I'm dealing with. You know, just be the hope you want to see, be the next best person standing next to you. That's enough work. Really, it's hard sometimes to be your best person, knowing that the person next to you is being their worst. It's like, what the point? The point is just between you and your creator, between you and God. That's the point. Every breath, every move, really, it truly is between you and your maker. And when we leave here, that dude that likes your Gucci or your smile or your eyes or your ass or your sex or your money or your house or your clout or your degree ain't gonna be there standing next to you saving your behind. Not gonna be there. When you're crying, most likely they're not gonna be there. When you have that true moment, Fuckers aren't there. Where are they? So that's the illusion. The only thing that's real is the true correspondence to the frequency. That real part of myself that I'm sharing with you right now that you can relate to. That's real. That's the part that we're going to bring out of the darkness and put it in our light right now. We're going to keep that in the light so that we can get better. Yes, we are angry, but he gives us the luck to change every day. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, it's magnificent. It's the only, like, true freaking, maybe it turns tangible. Like, it all starts with a thought, you know? But yeah, just the idea alone is so freaking beautiful in the midst of all this corruption and pain and hurt. Yeah, so there is hope, you know? There is hope. It's your intentions. And even if the intentions is to acknowledge the mounting or the pain or the corruption or the degradation, it's not saying that it's not there. You know that it's in there. So watch yourself. Don't go rubbing that crap all over everybody. Don't rub it on me. What? We've been through enough. Yo, I'll take my shoes off, pull my wig off, roll around on the ground, yell out to God, whatever I gotta do. But I'm just don't want to deliberately rub that stuff. I don't want to deliberately rub that stuff. Continue to keep rubbing that stuff on each other. So I do the best that I can, and that's better than doing the worst that I can. Much love to you and yours. This is Siren Buddha Medicine. I could appreciate your support on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share. And please donate. And every message box, there is a PayPal button. So we like to look up all this other counterproductive stuff. You can donate to anybody at any time if you have $1, $2, $5, $50, whatever it is that you do have. If you believe that what they're doing is going to contribute an iota toward whatever, when you have whatever, just drop it in there and send me a little note, because I would really, 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 really freaking appreciate it. And anything that I do is going to go to the advancement of myself and how I plug into the community, which means an advancement for you. I'm always giving this back because I need to expand. That's what I'm here for. That's my universal correspondence. You know, this is just me and what I do and how I plug in. All right. Have a good one. I hope this was helpful to you.